Well, the Florida Gators proved me wrong. I thought they was going to lose this game, but they beat the Tennessee Volunteers 29-16. We need to get into the stats. Uh, Florida played like their head was on fire in this whole matchup. I'm gonna read off the stats. Graham Mertz, he had 24 attempts for uh, with 19 completions for 166 yards and a touchdown. Um, you gotta give credit to Florida O line. They did a pretty good job. Today struggled. Early on in the season against Utah, but that's why you play the games. You never know how a team is going to come out, and Florida proved a lot of doubters wrong, including myself. I thought Florida was going to struggle in this matchup, but actually they returned the favor to Tennessee, and they did a phenomenal job. ETN, I mean, this guy just had a great game. I mean, Trevor, he had 23 attempts for 172 rushing yards and a touchdown. Tennessee could not stop the run. They could not stop uh, Trevor Etienne. He had a field day on Tennessee's defense. Uh, Montreal Johnson, he got a touchdown as well with 23 yards. But and the only he also had a receiving touchdown as well for 18 yards out. But those were pretty much the three touchdowns. Um, what can I say, man? Florida just came out and played, man. The defense looked very good as well. Austin Armstrong has turned that defense around. Like I said, just night and day difference from early on in the season um, against Utah. But um, you know, he was actually going to be our defensive coordinator. So hats off to Florida, man. Just on both sides of the ball, did a phenomenal job. Win the game. Passing yards, they got 166 passing yards, and they got 173 on the ground. That's very good. Run the ball for a total of 339 yards. They just played well on both sides of the ball. I mean, uh, what can you ask for Florida? I mean, they buckled down. They knew what they had to do to get their problems fixed. The run game wasn't able to run the ball, and they put up some running yards on Tennessee. And this is a Tennessee team that got some veterans on their defense. Tennessee was actually pretty good. Decent last season stopping the run. So uh, hats off to Florida. They was able to pull off the victory. Tennessee, on the other hand, they dropped the ball, and the game was kind of a tale of two halves. First half, Florida was able to put up a lot of points and a lot of yardage. In the second half, uh, they kind of stumbled over themselves a little bit. Tennessee played a much better defensive game in the second half versus Tennessee looked really starting to move the ball in the second half of the game. So, but it's by that time it's too late. They already had a deficit and they had to try to fight back. Joe Milton, he had 34 attempts with 20 completions for 287 yards with two touchdowns. He also threw an interception. Um, for the most part, just couldn't get they couldn't get the offense running like how they wanted to in the first half. Like I said, they found some success in the second half, but you would like for them to run the ball a little bit better than they did. Jalen Wright, he had 63 yards on the ground. Jabari Small had 35 yards on the ground, but they just couldn't get anything going. Um, Drew McCoy, he had 94 yards and a touchdown. Um, and then Ramel Keaton, he had a touchdown with 39 yards receiving. So just the offense just couldn't get going. They was able to get 287 L, like I said, with Joe Milton, and they only got 106 between the two running backs on the ground. And they just had a total of 393 yards. So Florida did a phenomenal job shutting down a Tennessee offense, man. I mean, this Tennessee offense is hard to defend against, but Florida Gators came in this game. It was a home game for them, and they just played up to the standard. Florida, it's going to be interesting to see what they do going forward. Tennessee as well. Is Tennessee going to be able to get it together, as far as their offense is concerned. Um, like I said, I thought guys like Dunton Thornton would get more, receptions. He had 53 receiving yards, but just the Florida defense made the difference in this game, in my opinion. I didn't expect them to get as much pressure as they did on Joe Milton and cause problems for him. You got to take your hats off to their defense, man. Austin Armstrong got them guys playing well. And for the most, I thought Tennessee was going to get, some tackles for losses and stuff like that on Florida's offensive line, but the offensive line stepped up. What can you say? Um, but that's pretty much the stats. Tennessee has to go back to the drawing board. Florida, they finally got something going, and both teams from to get into the SEC schedule, and it's going to be interesting to see who comes out in the East this season. A lot of people was predicting that Georgia was going to be the team, but Georgia didn't look too hot themselves. So could the Florida Gators make a run at it? Tennessee still has a chance to make a run at it, and Georgia's still, there. But who's coming out in the East? That's going to be very interesting to see. But that's all I have for the video. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll definitely be back with more college football content. Thanks, guys, and roll tide.